Hey everyone, today is Sunday, August 8th. The time is 3:30 p.m. and the temperatures are rather muggy, 26 degrees Celsius. And I'm here in Liberty Village. And I'm just about to head down to King Street West here. And for this one, I'll just be walking half a block over to Atlantic Avenue. And then I'm going to head south down to Snooker Street, which is right where I started. And I'm going to go check out the rather new pedestrian and cycling bridge. And I'll cross that. And that'll bring me back to King Street. And I think from there I'll head up to Ossington Avenue. And there's a look at the King Street Railway Subway Underpass. And this was built in the late 1800s, opening in 1888. And it's actually the railway that severs the link between Liberty Village and King Street West. Thus the need for the pedestrian bridge will soon be crossing. And that's a look west along King Street. And a look back to the east. So this here is south on Atlantic Avenue. And well off to the south of here is BMO Field. That's where the Toronto FC and Toronto Argonauts play. And there is where I just had lunch at the Craft. I was in this area meeting a friend, and I had a chicken sandwich and a few beers there. And it was quite good. So this is looping me back to right where I started. This here is Hannah Avenue. And I'll be staying along the north end of Liberty Village. This area's got an interesting history to it. There's a lot of old factories and warehouses that have been repurposed into office, retail, and condos. Who needs turn signals? And just to the north of here are the rail tracks. So I'm making my way over to a pedestrian bridge that was approved back in 2011, but didn't actually open until April of this year. It looks like there's plans to shove a few more buildings into this plaza here. There's definitely an interesting vibe here in Liberty Village. There's a lot of shiny new glass buildings mixed in with older buildings. And this very suburban style plaza. Even though it's just to the west of downtown, it does feel a bit cut off from the city. Looks like this is paid parking. I have done videos where I've wandered around Liberty Village before. And this wasn't something I had planned to do when I set out today. I just thought I'd bring my camera with me. And wherever I ended up, let's see if I could make a video from there. And this bridge I'm heading to is something I've only ever covered on a live stream once before. And just to the south of here is East Liberty Street. That would be the main street that runs east and west throughout Liberty Village, which sits roughly south of King Street. And to the west, it's bordered by Dufferin Street, and to the east, I think Strawn Avenue. And to the south, the rail tracks. There's the Liberty Market building. And I think that's the Brazen Head pub. In addition to all the industry that used to be here, there's a couple of old prisons that used to call this area home. And I think the new pedestrian bridge is just to the north of here. I'm not sure what this street is. I think it's Western Battery Road, but I don't see any signs. There's the bridge straight ahead. So it took 10 years to get this thing completed, and it cost $11.5 million. Or at least that was the original budget. They've probably gone over that. And on the other side of the bridge is Doro Street, and then you can connect to King Street West. And there's a look to the east with the Tower and Financial District. It's called a cyclist and pedestrian bridge, but I just see these little ramps here for cyclists. There's also an elevator, which is not yet opened. And here's the Metrolinx rail corridor. So this spans 55 meters. And that is why this bridge exists. As for quite some ways in both directions, there's no connection from Liberty Village to King Street. So where I started is just off to the west. There is Doro Street. And there is King Street. So I think the actual construction started back probably somewhere around 2018. I'm not sure what the holdup was or why it was so expensive. It certainly feels like some contractor took the taxpayers for a ride, but I think it's a much needed link. Although if I were on my bike, I'd probably just find a route that went around that bridge. And here is King Street. So for the second part of this one, I think I'm just going to head north up to Ossington. And I'll take Ossington Avenue up to Dundas. That's a rather lively stretch, and there's a lot of patios and bars and that sort of thing. And on the way, I will cut through CAMH, which is a center for addiction and mental health. It's actually quite large. It's comparable in size to a small college campus. So between King Street, which is where I am, and Queen Street, the next major east-west street to the north of here, there's really no direct connection between Dufferin Street, which is off to the west, and Shaw Street, which is just to the east. This is the only real way, to my knowledge, to get to Queen without going to either Shaw or Dufferin. That is taking Sudbury to a street called White Squirrel Way. And that'll lead us up through the CAMH campus. Maybe I'll cross over to the other side where there's no street parking. And that is the CAMH campus, just to the north there. And at the bend off to the west, Sudbury becomes Dovercourt Road. that'll shoot up to the north. I'm assuming these are all condo townhomes. They look a bit too uniform to be anything else. And I think this is where the shortcut is. And this will lead us into the CAMH facility. So this would be the south end of the property. And the current facility opened back in 1998, if I'm not mistaken. Although originally on these grounds, dating back to 1850, I'm trying to think of the original name, I think it was the Provincial Lunatic Asylum. As non-politically correct as that sounds, that's what they called it. And it since underwent a number of name changes, sounding lesser and less offensive as time went on. Oh, this is White Squirrel Way. I might have said White Squirrel Avenue before, I'm not too sure. But it definitely takes on the feeling of a college campus. And there was another old mental health facility on Lakeshore in Etobicoke, and that has since turned into a Humber College campus. And I think the facilities here are quite overwhelmed. I've read stories of long waiting lists and infrequent help. It's not that they're not trying, they just don't have the resources to provide adequate services to the city. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know they had a program to help people with aversions to needles and mental health problems get vaccinated. And that is the Crisis and Critical Care Building. And this is Queen Street West I'm approaching. And this would be part of the West Queen West neighborhood. So on Friday, I just did a walk through here at night. It certainly takes on a different character by day. And this is the Paul E. Garfinkel Park. I think that used to be a beer store. There's a pretty neat mural.
On the wrong side, thanks, man.
Cheers. He said he was on the wrong side, and that's all good. I shouldn't be crossing until it's clear to do so anyways. So I'm just going to head east for a few blocks to Ossington Avenue, and then I'll walk north up to Dundas. And I think from there, I'll probably call it a walk.
I like that shirt, man. I can relate to that.
Cheers. Said, I like that shirt. I can relate to it. I'm wearing my I'm thinking shirt. And here comes Ossington Avenue. As I look north up a random laneway that didn't have a name on it. There's more of the sprawling CAMH campus. So I'll be heading north up Ossington here. And south of Queen is Lower Ossington Avenue. And that wall smells like fresh paint. I think it's being prepped for some new murals. Speaking of which, so I think about 3 weeks ago, I did a Saturday evening walk down Ossington. This area has sort of been known for its hipsterness in recent years. It used to be a bit rougher than this. There are things like auto repair garages and more industrial type uses on this street, and it started to gentrify in quite a hurry. There's Look South. And here's Sundays. It's a boutique furniture shop. It's a bit spendy. And it is Argyle Street. More artwork here. Not sure what this is. I'm just going to cross over to the west side. There's a number of pretty well-known bars and restaurants on Ossington here, including the Foxley, which is just on the other side of the street there. There's not much in the way of chain stores, which is probably a good thing. And rotate this. Along with Sonic Boom, they're long-standing used record stores here in the city. And they've both had a number of different locations over the years. There's Foxley. I keep reading and hearing about this place, but I have never been myself. And there is a bus I probably want to catch. That's the 63 Ossington bus. And that'll be heading all the way up to Eglinton West Station. So I could potentially get home all the way via bus. I could take that up to Eglinton West Station and then take the Eglinton bus over to Eglinton Station. And there's a look to the west on Dundas. I just don't feel like running for the bus. I could also take that bus up to Ossington Station. And from there, I could jump on the subway and take that over to either St. George and then head north, or Bloor Young, but I don't really want to do that because they're running shuttle buses this weekend between St. Clair and Finch, as the TTC often does. So I'm here at Dundas and Ossington. And let's see when the next 63 bus is. That's the northbound bus I just missed. Not sure if that's focusing, but less than 4 minutes. That works for me. So I hope you enjoyed this walk from Liberty Village north, taking the new pedestrian crossing up to Queen Street West, and then north up Ossington Avenue to here at Dundas and Ossington. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there are links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. I also have an Instagram account. Anywho, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.